to get involved, not only give his blessings, but to very actively participate in helming the BRICS Legal Forum from Indian side along with Mr. K.K. Venugopal. So I will request Mr. Mukul Rohatgi to present the way forward for the BRICS Legal Forum.
Good evening, everybody. Chief Justice of India, Justice Thakur, Shri Venugopal, Prashant, Pinky, heads of our delegations, the Chinese, the Russians, South African, and Brazil, and all the members of the delegations who are present and who have been together in these deliberations in the last couple of days, our Indian friends, colleagues, lawyers, jurists. It is indeed a matter of great pleasure to see how delegates of different countries with different languages, different political systems, different legal systems, completely disparate systems can come together, sit across a table, discuss mutual issues, and surprisingly within a day or two come out with a joint declaration, which is now called the New Delhi Declaration, which will be signed in a few minutes. It is a matter of great personal satisfaction that all the members came forward of different delegations in a spirit of brotherhood and friendliness and friendship. We have discussed a large number of issues. Now, one thing is clear, that the BRICS nations are the 5 emerging economies growing rapidly. They constitute more than 20% of the GDP of the world, about 42% of the population. And it is obvious, therefore, that this is an important bloc. You have had Western blocs, you have the EU, you have SAARC, you have many such blocs. But I think this is a bloc which stretches to different parts of the world, and a bloc which ought to take its real position in the world economy and world affairs. As they say, this is the century of emerging economies, and therefore it is the right time for this bloc to come together, march and forge ahead, so that the dominance of the other blocs, particularly the West, does not remain. Now, the most important thing when you conduct business between these 5 nations, the first thing that will happen is disputes. They are bound to happen. So how do you resolve these disputes? If you take recourse to separate legal systems in different countries, then obviously it is no better than any other ordinary situation and doesn't help the BRICS as a group. It is with this thought that the BRICS Legal Forum was thought of to be an adjunct of the BRICS nations movement. So the idea is that we should be able to resolve our disputes in the manner of either mediation or arbitration. When the second legal summit happened in Shanghai last year, it was seen that they have already established an alternate dispute resolution body. They are ready and functional. They have also adopted a model clause which has to be inserted in every arbitration. And that clause is like a standard clause that companies belonging to these nations agree that there will be an arbitration according to BRICS legal rules. I found on the net that China has also framed the rules, like ICC rules or Singapore rules or LCIA rules. So the rules are framed. But curiously, I found that no significant progress has been done in resolution of specific cases. So it kind of remains on the periphery or on a peripheral manner. Everybody is agreed that we have to do this, we have to go forward. We need not have Singapore arbitration or LCIA or ICC. We should have our own arbitration. As far as India is concerned, although all the BRICS countries have ratified this issue, but India has to amend our domestic laws, and in particular Section 44, which has two requirements. One is of the New York Convention and one is notification of territories. I find that India has not notified two of the territories out of these 5 territories as yet. But the most important thing is what happens next. I found that last month the finance minister pitched strongly for a dispute resolution between the 5 countries in this fashion. According to me, the way forward in order to become concrete, in order to have concrete resolution, so as to provide competition to SIAC, LCIA or ICC, is to first ensure that this concept of BRICS and BRICS Legal Summit as an adjunct be first introduced and explained in the universities teaching legal education. I find Dr. Chauhan sitting before me, who heads a very illustrious university called Amity, which is spread all over India. It provides legal education apart from many other forms of education. Most students know of the New York Convention, most students know of SIAC and ICC, etc. So we must start from legal education. People should be told that this is a kind of a block which has been forged by these leaders of these 5 nations. It is not like NATO. It is not something to do with security. This has to do with the economy. The economy of 5 engines put together will produce a huge amount of power. To harness that power, we must retain within this group the right to resolve these disputes. That power will fizzle away and go away if the disputes go to jurisdictions who have nothing to do with these economies. So we start with legal education. We amend our local act to provide for enforcement. And then there should be a literacy campaign in this regard for lawyers to be spread through bar associations, the Bar Council, the Bar Association of India, that this is what we are looking at, and model rules can be replicated from the Shanghai rules. The same rules can apply with some modification. And we must actively encourage, at least start one arbitration. For that, initiative can be taken maybe by the Bar Association of India. You start one arbitration. We have a very good body of arbitrators, a very good body of retired judges who are impartial, who are professionals. We have a good body of lawyers. We have more than 1.2 or 3 million lawyers in this country. I was surprised to find from the Chinese delegation that China has 3.5 lakh lawyers. So it is not as if when we used to think that they have a rudimentary system, they have more than 200 judges in the final court. So they have a system which we don't know much about. We need to know that. And I would suggest, let us start a couple of arbitrations. Let us use the Shanghai Center with the model rules, see the result, make award enforcement smooth and fast, and then only we will be able to show to the world that the BRICS countries have come together not only for the economies, the ease of doing business, exchange of information, FDI, but also in a matter of dispute resolution by forming different councils in all the nations put together and actually solving a few disputes. I don't know whether, apart from China, the other nations have been able to conduct any arbitrations. I actually do not know. That our friends will be able to tell us. But this is the way forward, that is to pitchfork for a particular dispute or a number of disputes to be resolved together. I leave you with these thoughts so we can get a feedback as to how actually to concretize and proceed further. Finally, I wish all the delegates a happy journey back home with the desire that we will meet in Russia next year when we have the 4th BRICS Legal Summit. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rohtagi, for presenting the way forward. Before I call upon our Honorable Minister for State for Law and Justice, Electronics and Information Technology, Mr. P.P. Chaudhary, I just want to indicate that, along with this third BRICS Legal Forum, we have taken a capacity building program in BRICS countries, which was firstly done in Shanghai, where around 20 scholars from different BRICS countries were imparted training in Eastern University of China, Law and Political Science at Shanghai. Now, India has done its part by inviting 5 scholars each from the 4 BRICS countries in collaboration with MIT University, and this program will go on till 18th on training on Indian legal system. So I will request all the legal scholars of BRICS Talent Program to kindly stand up. These are the future of BRICS. They have come from Brazil, from South Africa, from China, and from Russia. So give a big hand, and also give a big hand to Dr. Chauhan and the faculty of MIT. Professor Bhavana Batra is here full-time attending this forum. Thank you. And now I will invite Mr. P.P. Chaudhary to come and give his special address.
Honorable Chief Justice of India, Mr. T.S. Thakur, Justice Kurian Joseph, Judge Supreme Court of India, Attorney General of India, Mr. Mukul Rohatgi, Co-Chair of the Forum, Mr. K.K. Venugopal, Chairman of the Legal Commission of Modern Integration Process of the Association of Lawyers of Russia, and the next host for the forum, Mr. Alexei Klishkin, Additional Solicitor General of India, Ms. Pinky Anand, President Bar Association of India, Mr. Lalit Bhasin, Mr. Luis Ferreira from Brazil, Mr. Qin Jinping from China, Mr. Lin Yanping from China, distinguished dignitaries, honorable members from the legal fraternities, and dear friends. I would like to begin by extending warm gratitude to the esteemed guests present here for sparing their invaluable time to a part of the third BRICS Legal Forum in New Delhi. It gives me immense pleasure to address such an illustrious forum. I would like to take this opportunity to discuss various issues involving the legal community within the BRICS nations. The legal community, and in particular,